our next guest has been affectionately nicknamed the White Mamba. You can hear him every single morning, weekdays, with Frank Isold on SiriusXM NBA Radio.
Except the days that he's off, and that's when I fill in.
Oh, there you go.
Scal and I have never
You
actually
did a
been
great
in the same
job.
place at the same time.
He's also a Celtics analyst on NBC Sports Boston. And, of course, we're bringing him in because the Cavs and the Celtics do battle tonight in Boston. Scal, welcome to the show. And I guess we'll start right there. We have this weird tendency, people covering basketball, to say, oh, well, I don't believe in them until they show me they can do it in the playoffs, right? And even a team like the Celtics, who have been to the finals, have been to the conference finals a bunch of times, it wasn't until them winning it last year that people now say, oh, yeah, of course they're going to win it. And so the Cavs find themselves in that position now where they've been the best team in the conference clearly all season long, wire to wire, and yet a lot of people are doubting because we haven't seen them do it in the playoffs. From your perspective, how does a team show you that they're ready to do it without doing it in the playoffs?
I mean, I think that's like low-hanging fruit when people just check out of that. I think that they're good, really good. I think the reason they're winning regular season games is because they have a super high floor. If you like, they can have an off night and they could still beat you, right? And so, they're a version of what the Celtics do. They move it extremely well offensively. They have guys that can play make. Staying away from Mobley right now because I want to get into him later. They're just a smaller version of the Boston Celtics. Like our two ball handlers are Tatum and Brown, 6'9", 6'6", 6'7", and their guys are Mitchell and Garland, 6'1", 6 foot, and as you know, like in the playoffs, that stuff does kind of add up. But I think the Cavs are bona fide. I think they're great. They're well coached. They move it well. Their bench has won them games, and they've added DeAndre Hunter, which I think this is like part of the NBA right now. People are looking to find guys to stop Tatum and Brown, and like the Knicks did it with Mikal Bridges. Mm-hmm. Now the Cavs are doing it. I love Karis LeVert, great offensive player, just not the caliber defensive player that DeAndre Hunter is. So I think that addition will be really interesting to see tonight.
We'll decide if you get to talk about Darius Garland or not.
Evan
what
Mobley.
happened the other?
It was Evan Mobley.
Was it Evan Mobley? Sorry. What happened the other night against the Pistons? And this isn't so much a what's wrong with the Celtics question because obviously it's the regular season. But what do you like about the Pistons?
Love. I've been pumping the pom poms for Cade Cunningham for like 3 years, and I was wondering last year if I just got him wrong. Like.
Me too.
A guy that can. So I'm big on owning your space in the league, right? I think it's underrated. I think the guys that own their space, all-time great players, they all own their space, even in a weird way. Like Iverson, as small as he was, he owned his space. But Cade operates with a little Luka Doncic, offensively, where he could go where he wants to go. He's not affected by contact. He gets to spaces on the floor. He keeps his composure, even as he's hitting guys and dislodging them. And that's really hard to do. So I'm high on Cade Cunningham. And what they've done is, last year they weren't that bad. They shouldn't have been, what did they win? 14 games, 17 games last year. They shouldn't have won that many games last year. But what we're seeing, though, is they weren't where they're at this year. They've improved, no doubt. They've added some professionals in the room. And Tobias Harris gets a lot of heat from Philly fans for whatever reason. But in this league right now, a guy that consistently plays hard, brings it, and plays a lot, like he's relatively healthy a lot of the times, it shows a professionalism and kind of sets the tone. And Malik Beasley entering into a contract year, I'm going to tell you right now, the way he's playing, you want Malik Beasley to be in a contract year every year because he is lights out. But by the way, like I kind of hated on his defense last year with the Bucks, unwarranted for sure. Because if you look at the net rating, that starting five group with the Bucks last year was really good. Doc Rivers decided to bench him for Patrick Beverley. What a gift to Detroit. Malik Beasley's having another impactful season, and we got to just start looking at him as a different player. Whatever he was 3 or 4 years ago, he is not that same guy anymore.
Is it as simple as that? Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Tobias Harris, and this team goes from the team that lost a record number of games in a row.
Well, and no Monty, because Monty was starting Killian Hayes for whatever reason.
Yeah, man, heat right there. Nice job,
Sorry.
Israel. I'll tell you guys. So there's been 5 all-time great turnarounds. So the Celtics, they had Garnett and Ray Allen. Then you add, I think it was 2 Spurs.
Tim Duncan,
Yep, and then David Robinson.
Yep.
The year that they got David Robinson. Another one was Phoenix and Steve Nash, and the other one was the Celtics and Larry Bird. And now it's Malik Beasley, Tobias Harris, baby. Those guys are next up. Chalk them in as Hall of Fame players.
Brian, I wonder your perspective from Boston. Nationally, Jason Tatum obviously gets a lot of hate and kind of disrespect, I think, considering the amount of winning he's done in his young career. We have led the charge on that. We have been some of the biggest Tatum haters that there have been. But my theory is it's almost just because he makes things look so easy, and in a sense, it's almost boring watching him play because everything looks like it was made in a lab. His personality is not bombastic. He's not in your face. And in turn, there ends up being more disrespect levied at him than he should just because he's not a polarizing player. Almost being unpolarizing makes him polarizing. What's your view of why people look at Jason Tatum and maybe don't give him the respect that another player with his resume would get?
All right. The only way for me to answer that question is to ask you a question. So, Jeremy, give me your 3 favorite players in the NBA right now.
Oh, that's a really tough question, man. I'm around the Heat. So Tyler Hero, Kel'el Ware, Bam Adebayo.
Oh my God! Well, okay,
no, I know what you're saying. I love. I've always loved watching Steph Curry. I love watching Anthony Edwards. I love watching Shea.
Right. Okay, there you go. So, and Shea doesn't have a bubbling personality, but
no, he's similar to Tatum in that respect.
Yeah, but the NBA has done a really interesting job of marketing players, right? And the best part about today's NBA is, I was going to say something like, I blank with that guy. Oh yeah, I blank with him. I like him, right? I like Ja Morant. I don't care about what he did a year ago with the guns and stuff. I love watching Ja Morant play. What do you want me to say, right? I'm a white kid from the middle of nowhere. I love watching Ja Morant play. I like watching Anthony Edwards. I liked him more last year than this year. There was a time, I know it sounds crazy, I liked watching Ben Simmons play, right?
Yeah.
It's just everybody has what they like. And I think if you ask a lot of people, I'm not sure a lot of people outside of Boston say, man, I just love watching Jason Tatum play. I don't think they resonate with him for whatever reason. It could be the he's on every commercial, but you don't really know anything about Tatum. You don't see him on certain podcasts or anything like that. Maybe that's by design. Did he ever answer a question besides this thing right now saying, if you take away the name and the face, I get disrespected? But I just think we're in a generation now where people like different things. There was a time, I'm sure, where all you guys loved Jimmy Butler and the way that he played. And then now Jimmy Butler did what he did with Miami and you don't like him.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. We never liked that guy.
It's just that's the league we live in right now. But I think that any analyst and any fan can all admit that he's a top 5 to 10 player in the NBA.
That's
Everyone
exactly it.
admit that.
He's so spectacular in terms of production, in terms of efficiency, and all of the things that he does on the court. It's surprising, but I think your explanation makes a lot of sense. It's just that people don't gravitate to him as I F with that dude.
Well, a couple of things, though, Scout. See if you agree with me here. Early on in his career, I interviewed him a bunch pregame. He had nothing to say. He was not really that exciting of a personality. He has definitely grown in that respect, has more to say, but not really a whole lot, right? And then when he does say stuff after winning, he's just basically parroting other people who have already won. And then in part of the game, and this is not really an insult to him, he just does what he needs to do. He doesn't over dribble because he doesn't have to. He doesn't do all this fancy stuff like maybe he did when he was younger. He just does the 1 or 2 moves, a sidestep, maybe a little bit of push off, and then that's it. That's all he needs to do to be at this level and win. And so maybe that just doesn't draw that many eyes.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I've covered Tatum for whatever amount of years. I don't know what he likes.
Right.
I know he likes Deuce.
Yeah,
I know that. I'm just being honest. I was Tatum, I don't know. Does Tatum go on a show and you get a personality of Jason Tatum? I don't know. I know that his brand is spotless. The guy has a new outfit, and he does the whole thing every single day. I know the stuff he says after the game. I listen to all the press conferences. It's just like, I got it. I understand the whole thing, but I'm just not. This is not a message to Tatum or anything like that. But it's like,
listen up.
I think don't be surprised when people don't like you as much as they like somebody else, because people just gravitate towards certain people for whatever reason. I think, like, if you look at LeBron the last 4 years, maybe 3 years, I think everyone just totally respects what LeBron is doing. Like the whole polarizing figure, he's no longer a polarizing figure. The guy's 40 years old and dominating, right? So I think, like, even us in Boston are like, yo, man, this dude he's incredible. I don't care that he left Miami, left Cleveland, went to LA. I don't care that he chases championships. I don't care about any of that. Like, he's still doing this thing at 40. Like, man, I give you all the credit, all the love in the world. Steph Curry as well. Like, those guys, I've always liked Steph, but it's like, there's a certain point when Tatum is stacking championships or whatever it may be, that people are just going to be like, you know what? Say whatever you want. The dude plays all the time. He defends. He scores. He does everything he's supposed to do. You're just going to end up saying, yeah, I'm cool with Tatum.
Scal, let me ask you a question, because you brought up Tatum kind of saying, like, if you take my name and my face away from it and just blind resume, people would respect me a lot more. You've got LeBron James basically bigging up what Anthony Edwards said during the All-Star break. Like, I don't want to be a face of the league, because why would I want to be a face when all people talk about me all the time? And you, me, Izzy, we're all roughly the same age. So we remember that this isn't a new phenomenon. Like, when you were at the top, people talk, ask questions until you win, and then you haven't won enough and all that stuff. It's happened for the entirety of our league. And I told the story of with an NBA on NBC intro where they were asking, is Michael Jordan ever going to go to the finals? Like, they questioned Michael Jordan. So when you hear current players, and especially an older guy like LeBron, whine about the criticism that they receive, am I reading this wrong? And it's like, hey, this has always been, or has it gotten worse for these guys?
I mean, this is, if you say, like, let's say I do this show, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've said any hot takes on this show, but let's just say I did say a hot take. That would go viral. So like, there are people out there that are trying to do that, say hot takes, get people go viral, and then create, like, it's a topic of conversation that can lead into tonight's PTI or Around the Horn, right? That's just how our business works. But if we all just came up here and gassed up everybody and how good everybody is and the league is amazing and all that stuff, like, that's not going to do anything. So I kind of feel like because of social media and everything like that, we're in the environment of the negativity. The negativity is just what's going to spread to, like, even the conversation of LeBron and Michael Jordan. Somehow that's a slight on LeBron to say he's not as good as Jordan. It's not a slight. Dude, Jordan was a beast of, like, a Greek god, and LeBron is right there next to him. But that's a polarizing topic that people think you're hating, like, that's just the world that we live in. So the thing that gets back to Tatum are going to be the negativity. Like, right. Is this going to get back to Tatum? The dude plays all the time. He rebounds, he defends, he makes the right play, he's passing the ball. That's not getting back to anybody. That's not going viral. Like, anything else would go viral. So that's why people think you catch, as you said, or grief or whatever, because it's the negative is what kind of gets exacerbated.
All right, Scal, before we let you go, in under 30 seconds, if Nico Harrison had called Brad Stevens and said Luka Doncic for Jason Tatum,
nah,
you wouldn't do it?
Nah.
Okay, 15 seconds or more.
But yeah, but Wemby?
And now we're talking. Scal.
No, I mean, come on, guys. He's the most untradeable guy in the history of the league at this point. Everyone wants Wemby, so whatever.
All right, Scal, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Scal.
You got it, guys. See ya.
One of the fun things that happens when we're filling in for Dan is that Dan will send us notes.
Oh, no.
He sent a note about this comment by LeBron James. Do you want to say it? Okay. A comment by LeBron James about Anthony Edwards' statement at All-Star that he isn't striving to become the face of the NBA. Quote, from LeBron. Channing Frye said it. Why do you want to be the face of the league when all the people that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis on everybody?
I do not want to start any sort of comment that we're supposed to have a discussion on with Channing Frye was right. No offense to Channing Frye.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel like, wait a second, why are we saying this? First of all, face of the league stuff is a made-up fake title, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've never grew up thinking to myself before I was a journalist, hey, who's the face of the NBA?
Mm-hmm.
And I probably
that would be
never
Jordan,
have.
by the way.
Yeah.
Well, of course, but I never would have.
You never had to ask the
if
question.
I wasn't a journalist, right?
Right.
And so the idea, but he goes, oh, everybody's going to nitpick your game, etc. Well, it doesn't matter if you're the face of the NBA. If you are a player that everybody wants to watch because you have an incredible game, people are going to dissect it anyway.
That was my takeaway. I'm like, why are we acting like if I'm not the face of the NBA,
Get away with everything.
then I get to skate. No one will give it. Like we've done. By the way, this is how this game has been done forever. I told the story before about I love NBA on NBC intros. I'm really excited for the return of NBA on NBC because I want them to do those intros where they build this huge thing. Oh, for so and so, it's the time of a lifetime. Like that whole kind of little monologue before that.
You think they're going to replicate that?
They have to.
Why not?
They have to. I've already told Noah Eagle he's got to do it.
Create stakes for every single game.
Every
have
game.
people who maybe aren't as big NBA fans listen to that and be like, hey, I know what's happening now. Let me watch this.
One of my favorite ones was Game 7, Rockets versus Suns. And they were like, for the
Well, you don't need it for a Game 7.
but still, it's awesome. It's like Charles Barkley has been searching for like the promised land and winning a title
Marv Island.
for a Hall of Fame career. For Hakeem Olajuwon, that dream was achieved last season, but the banner in the summit does not hang for Clyde Drexler. And I'm like, oh, Clyde Drexler needs this. Clyde Drexler needs this. But I bring it up because one of my favorite ones of all time was like, O.J. Simpson rushed for 2,000 yards, but never played in the Super Bowl. Andre Dawson never played in the MVP, never went to the World Series. So and so, and it's like naming all these great athletes who had Hall of Fame careers, but never won the big one, never even played for the big one. Michael Jordan has, and I was like, oh, we're doing this. We're asking if Michael Jordan is ever going to get to the finals. That was a time. It happened. The most hallowed, the most celebrated man in the history of our sport. They were asking the same damn questions. So what makes you so goddamn special? We're like, they say mean things about me.
My favorite point that somebody tried to make on Face of the League, the contrived conversation that I've never heard more than this year, was you can't be a foreigner. You can't be an international player to be the face of the league. Why not?
Yeah, because
who's ever said that? Whoever
Americans are
says like, oh,
xenophobic.
I'm
we talked about
dissecting
that on
Victor
the show.
Wembanyama. I'm watching him all the time. He is the guy that's on my TV all the time. Not the face of the league, though. Too
Yeah,
foreign.
it's Dan. Dan's the one who said it.
When people, that's people.
Yeah. Yeah, when you hear people, it's Dan.
Is it Dan?
Dan is the one who's insinuated.
Dan does that all the time. By
he
the
just
way.
he just says like, oh,
That's-
people are talking about it and saying that Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic can't be the face of the league because they're not Americans. Even Shea, he's a Canadian, can't be the face of the league.
He likes foisting.
Who said it?
He foists his opinions on people.
Us.
Classic stir.
Yeah. All right, time to open up the Cuervo Club.
Do I have to?
The
course.
Cuervo Club is brought to you by Cuervo. Now's a good time to enjoy the tequila that invented tequila.
Could have mine.
Oh man, you could do a little tequila in the morning.
1, 2, 3, oddball.
You know what? Monday through Thursday. Roy, who's in the Cuervo Club?
You are a short-sighted moron.
That's Dan.
People are saying.
It could have been about anybody.
That's
You
Dan.
are a short-sighted moron.
Dan
Phil
talking about
Collins.
me,
Yeah.
talking about
That's Dan's limited fake Jeremy.
yeah.
Is basically what that is.
You are a short-sighted moron.
Not good.
Who else is in the Cuervo Club?
Oogling,
Oh my God, Chris.
oogling.
It's a tough word. Like if you just see it all the time and you never actually say it out loud,
Yeah.
do you think it's a long O? Do you think it's a short O? Nobody knows.
Oogling.
I have a worse time trying to spell it than I do having to pronounce
What do you have Chris reading?
Ooh,
it. That's a good
question.
point.
Oogling.
Who else is in the Cuervo Club?
Oogling.
Still Chris.
This one stars the dad from That's So Raven.
Sometimes you get it to look a little look into Chris Cody's life, and it just makes me smile.
The prism, right? Through which he views reality.
I wish I could experience it one day for the entirety of my day.
Roy, who else is in the Cuervo Club?
The wicked
Argument is strong.
East, bro.
Wow.
Quick turnaround.
Yeah, I love when that happens.
That's a great impression, too.
The wicked
Argument is strong.
East, bro.
Did you say barbershop in the background?
The wicked
Argument is strong.
East, bro.
Argument is strong.
Oh, okay. Who else is in the Cuervo Club?
A plane and a helicopter.
The helicopter. Again, I just loved imagining just the little claws as being the propellers on the top.
A plane and a helicopter.
No, the helicopter.
Does anything give you more joy than when Dan kind of stumbles like
When
that?
anyone,
Anyone.
30% of Cinephobe is us just laughing at each other for mispronouncing some word. Who else is in the Cuervo Club? LinkedIn. That's me basically saying Dan expects every single read to go into chant form. Otherwise, LinkedIn. Otherwise, you didn't pay off the sponsorship. This is why we're saying Cuervo Club. Cuervo Club. Who else is in the Cuervo Club?
On the Bobby.
That's Greg Cody doing his limited Australian.
Why have I never
On the Bobby.
Why have I never been on Cinephobe?
What movie do you want to do?
I mean, pick one.
I think no, you haven't been. Jeremy hasn't
I
been
would
either.
love
was
to
gonna
be
say-
on Cinephobe.
Probably get me out of my deep depression. Maybe that's why I haven't watched movies lately.
Yeah, you're all right.
I went on to talk
We love
about the Da
Da
Vinci,
Vinci
Code,
Code.
which, by the way, Dan Brown's shaking in his boots because Conclave was such a better mystery about Catholicism.
How did the Da Vinci Code qualify?
Because it's awful.
I mean, but at the time, you think really it got sub 40%?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who else in the Cuervo Club, Roy?
Do you want some slapdick to report it?
You should have stopped it at slap.
Confirmed. Who else in the Cuervo Club?
Canada.
Proud to be a Canadian.
Yeah, that's right.
Or at least
I have
know.
health care.
Learned that Lee Greenwood's proud to be an American is actually proud to be a Canadian.
You know, they don't like it.
Who else is in the Cuervo Club, Roy?
You guys ever slept?
Oh,
Have you?
every morning.
You guys ever slept?
Oh, your own. Okay.
Yep. That's how that works. Who else in the Cuervo Club, Roy?
Almost implied.
It's cool that we sampled that Kendrick song now.
It's the height of winter, but it's also a great time to gather with friends and enjoy some Miller Lite. That's right, Miller Lite has the taste you know you can depend on. No games, no gimmicks, just that beautiful white can and a great tasting beer for people like you and me who love the taste of beer. Because Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers, with simple ingredients like malted barley for rich, balanced toffee note flavors and that iconic golden color that we all know and love. And here's the most important part for me. I mean, I like all the things, but 96 calories and just 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces, Miller Time is always a good time. The original light beer since 1975 and still the very best one. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.